You are listening to the Kentucky X-Files with hosts Dennis Mays and Tyler Stewart. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify or YouTube so you never miss an episode. Now, to our show.
Something that would be in the context of the supernatural.
He described it as being a gray, silver-looking, upright bipedal creature, dragging a deer out of that cave going up the hill.
Where he goes, hey, I got a question for you. He goes, do you believe in demons?
And it takes one big step and vanishes. I'm like, oh my God, that was a Bigfoot.
And look at these pictures of this white creature.
Something 7'3" to 8 foot tall.
Right.
That, let's say it like.
And I'll tell you right now, if this was a bear, then this bear was standing on his hind legs, and he was running like a man. No, this wasn't no bear.
Now, when it stood up, that's when I knew it was a dog man.
Welcome back to the Kentucky X-Files. This is episode 23, and full circle.
Full
Denny.
circle.
Yep. We are getting back on our first ever guest,
Yep.
Lee Woods.
Checking in with old Lee.
Yeah. He has a couple things that he is going to talk to us about. He has some research that he's been mulling over for the last couple, like 6-7 months since we talked to him last.
Also, too, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I think his coffee business actually took off pretty well. So, I mean, hopefully he'll tell us more about that because I've tried it. It's really good.
Yep.
It's really good. Like, I don't want to gush about it, but I'm sure I will at some point.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I've drank so much of that stuff.
He doesn't stop talking about it.
It's so good. It's just really good. Man, honestly, it's like when we first started this out, and when you're, okay, you know, I don't know if anybody's been through this before, but hey, when you're a brand new podcast, it's hard to get any kind of like, you know, cred. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With anybody, nobody knows you, nobody trusts you, nobody, you know, they think they're gonna talk to you and you're gonna spin their words around, which is, you know, couldn't be further from the truth. So Lee took a big chance with us. You know, he took a big chance, and I'm excited to hear, you know,
what he's got,
what has happened since, you know. So without further ado, I think we should just give him a call.
Yeah.
Let's give him a call. Let's bug Lee.
Yeah.
Let's just bug him.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey.
There we are.
There. You got the bus?
Yeah, I can hear you good now.
Okay. Sorry about that, man. My phone is a huge piece of shit.
Oh, no, it happens, man, trust me.
We've been
It was
kind
just
of
weird.
expecting it.
It was just weird. It was just like static. That's all I could hear. And then you were just like, I couldn't hear you at all.
Sorry about that, man. We've been expecting my phone to die at some point, and it finally just happened.
No, we'll just blame it on the government.
There you go. So, yeah, man, what's been going on in your neck of the woods, brother?
Well, I mean, not a whole lot really in my neck of the woods. I mean, you know, we're still out there doing research. The main thing that's happened down here is it's been several weeks ago. Tasha was down here, you know, because we do the Woods Walker Coffee together.
Yeah.
And we was down in West Morris, and we were just looking to where we had when her daughter was down here. Her daughter wanted to do some YouTube videos with me, so I did with her. And she had put out like a jar of peanut butter, and she put out this little bitty stuffed animal, which was a little dog up on a stump.
Yeah.
So me and her, when Tasha was down here, we went back out there and checked, and, you know, the peanut butter was gone,
right,
as usual.
Oh, yeah.
And the little stuffed animal was gone. So we walked up in there a little ways, and all of a sudden, up on this hill to the left-hand side of us, we heard movement. And it was, I don't know, it was maybe, 15, 20 seconds later.
Yeah.
We heard something coming through the trees like a baseball, just that, you know, that sound coming through the trees.
Oh, shit.
And, yeah. And we had a very large rock. And when I say a large rock, it was about the size of a small bowl. That's how big it was.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Oh, yeah, it had some weight to it too. It came through the trees and hit the ground, made that loud thud, and it just rolled down the hill. And we went over there, and I actually did a video. It's on my YouTube page.
Okay, cool.
But we went over there and done like a recreation with it, throwing the rock up in the air so we could hear the loud thud.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about the main thing that's happened down there. But in my area anyway. But I've been so busy with our coffee, going out and promoting and selling and setting up and stuff. I just really hadn't had a lot of time doing research.
I'll tell you what. I have researched your coffee pretty extensively, and that is really, really good.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, the coffee's taken off pretty good. We got our dark roast.
Yeah.
And we got our medium roast. And
I love that medium. Oh my God.
Yeah, we actually got a new blend coming out hopefully next month. But we just created a Woods Walker candles too. So we're making candles now.
No kidding. Awesome.
Yes, sir. But other than that, as far as the research, probably the best thing that's done so far is me and Tasha went to Monster Mart in Falk, Arkansas.
Cool.
Yeah, the gentleman who owns it, Denny Roberts.
Okay.
We talked to him, and he wanted to carry our coffee inside the store, which I thought was great.
Oh, wow.
To Falk, Arkansas, Boggy Creek.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And, if you go up there, our coffee, I think it's still sitting in the same section. Our coffee is sitting right beside Lyle Blackburn's Monster Sauce.
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, which that is really cool.
That is really cool, man.
So
I'm glad to hear it.
There. Oh, thank you, man. And so we went up there, and when we got up there, Denny told us, he said it was like 3 weeks prior to us getting up there that there had been a juvenile sighting. And we was like, really? He said, yeah. He said, there was a juvenile sighting.
Awesome.
And he told us where it was at, but where it was at was on like some, private property where to this day the people actually still have the creature on their land, but they won't let anybody go out there because, they've been ridiculed, made fun of.
Yeah.
So they just don't let anybody go on the property.
Yeah, I don't understand that, yeah.
I know it don't matter, man. I mean, as soon as you say Bigfoot, people just think you're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But, so we went out to Boggy Creek, and we looked around out there a little bit. But he told us another area, which was between Boggy Creek and the Sulphur River. So we went out there, and there's this long dirt/gravel road, which goes a good way. Then it cuts back to the right, and it goes like this big circle drive, and you come right back out the same way you went in.
Okay.
So we thought we'd just go out there and just look around, do some research.
Yeah, why not?
So as we're going out there, on the right-hand side, like it's just like a little bitty pull-off. It's just like a little embankment that's maybe, I don't know, maybe 35, 40 feet long. It ain't real big.
Yeah.
There was a dead boar laying out there, and it was laying like right next to the edge of the water, which I call the bog, because when you're on that road, there was literally the bog is on both sides of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Denny had told us that there's crocs or alligators or whatever you want to call them, they're out there, right?
Right.
So when we first saw it, I told Tasha, I said, I'm going to do a video about this. I said, because we wasn't expecting to find that. That was the last thing I was expecting to find.
That's got to be creepy, too, walking up on it.
It was, too. It was, too. And it was a good-sized boar, because, I mean, I bet he was, oh, Lord, he had to be close to 200 pounds. It's a good size.
Jesus.
And, but when I went out there and looked at it, I got to look at it, and I told her, I said, one thing is obvious. I said, it wasn't a croc or a gator that killed this thing.
No.
Because anybody knows if a gator or a croc gets a hold of you, it's going to drag you into water. You ain't going to see it no more. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
They're not going to throw it back up on shore and let you look at it.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't killed by a bear. It wasn't killed by a cougar. And I looked at it pretty good, pretty good detail. I could see much what was left of it, which there was a good deal left of it.
Yeah.
There was no gunshots in it whatsoever. It had no bullet holes in it. So it wasn't just shot and killed and thrown out there. That's one thing I can say.
Huh.
But and I mean, that video is on my YouTube page too.
Okay. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, it's definitely on there. But when you look at it, though, when you see the stomach of it in person,
yeah,
it looked like the stomach had been literally just like ripped out. Okay. Now, what was weird about that was it didn't look like I said, it didn't look like it had been bit by a croc or a gator. There was no puncture wounds, like they ripped it open. It looked like something had just literally drove its hands into the stomach and just pulled back. That's what it looked like.
Wow.
Yeah. and the tusks, they were gone. They were missing, like something ripped them out of its mouth. So, and what was weird about that was not too far from where that boar that we found wasn't too far from where that juvenile sighting had been. Okay, so we found that, and that same night we sat out there at the end of that little road, and I said, we're going to do some audio. We're just going to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there listening, and from the right-hand side of the car, I had my digital recorder set out there so I could listen a little bit. We didn't stay out there long because we was trying to find a place to stay.
Yeah.
And so we'd been out there maybe 20, 25 minutes, and all of a sudden we started hearing movement coming out of the bog. And then now I'm going to tell you right now, I had never been to Boggy Creek in my life, and I was so excited to be there. And I can't wait to go back and do some research.
Hell yeah.
But, dude, it is creepy. When I say creepy, I mean creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Because it's black, man. I mean, the stars were out, but it was pitch black, man. We couldn't even see each other sitting in the car.
Oh.
It was dark, so dark.
Man.
So we're sitting there. Oh, it was creepy, man. I mean, something could have walked up on you. Never even see. It could have walked right in front of the car. You never even seen it.
Oh, God.
But anyway,
yeah.
so we're sitting there, and I listen to the audio, and all of a sudden, on the right-hand side, because that's where I had the recorder, on the right-hand side, we started hearing, I don't know how to describe it. It was like something was making a weird call, okay?
Okay.
It was kind of like I don't know if I can do it, but I'll try. It was like, kind of like that, okay?
Wow.
Now, it wasn't no bird, but I can tell you that right now because you can tell how the vocal tone to it. It done that like maybe twice, and then we heard what sounded almost like a child out there. Now, where we were sitting at, it's just nothing but swamp and bog. There's no houses nowhere around, so you know there's nobody out there.
Yeah.
And if there was, trust me, you could hear them or see them. You know, that'd be no problem.
Yeah.
So we heard what sounded like a small child, and then it done that little cry out again, and when it did, something answered it. And that was the weird part. It got a response.
Oh, shit.
So, so we're sitting there listening to that, and then all of a sudden we start hearing that branches start breaking out in the swamp like something's coming through there. And we heard that, and I'm trying to think. Let's see what else on that. Let's see. Heard something in the water moving around. I mean, it could have been a beaver for all I know.
Yeah.
But the beaver didn't make that. It didn't make that yell and sound like a child to get a response. It definitely was not that.
Yeah, are beavers even? I mean, are they even active at night?
Oh yeah, dude. We saw one. We saw one on the flare out the side window, and it scared Tasha. She thought Bigfoot was actually coming up in the car. She saw it.
Oh God!
Because I ain't gonna lie to you, we were sitting there. She's like, "Oh my God!" She said, "What is that? What is that?" And I said, "What?" And I couldn't see it.
Hey,
she said, "Right down the embankment." She said, "There's something." She said, "There's something big that's coming up the embankment."
Hey,
So
you
I
tell
looked at
her
the
that
flare.
I'm right there with her. I would have probably started freaking out right about then myself.
Well, I tell you right now, what was weird about it though, man, when I saw it, and it's no lie, when I saw it through the flare, because I had to lean over and look, when I saw it through the flare, my first reaction was, "Oh my God, it looks like maybe like a juvenile."
Yeah.
It stood up from behind. It had built like a dam, like a beaver dam there, which we couldn't see because it was dark.
Yeah.
We saw it the next day, but it stood up. No lie, this thing stood up, and when it did, it looked like a head and shoulders, and it was moving from side to side like a human would. But then it turned, and when it turned, it dropped down. I saw the tail come up there, so I knew what it was then. But
man.
I mean, if it had never turned, you would have thought it was like baby Bigfoot looking right at you. You see the shoulders, it was like swaying its shoulders back and forth like it was dancing.
Man, I would have been sitting there. I would have been sitting there going, "Please be a beaver. Please be a beaver.
Please be a beaver.
Please be a beaver."
Eat a beaver, save a tree.
Yeah.
But like I said, we saw that, and then right after that, we left there. And the next day, we went out. We was doing some research, looking around, and we found what looked like a possible three-toed track. We found that.
Ooh.
And then we went back to another area, and that's when we actually come across a track that was able to cast. And it's on the YouTube page too. So we found
Awesome.
a track out there. We found that dead boar. We caught some audio out there at Boggy Creek. Hit this sulfur.
No kidding.
Oh, is
Oh
that
yeah,
the...
there is one thing that I do want to tell you. Now I mean, going to Boggy Creek was fascinating. Don't get me wrong, and I cannot wait to go out there and spend about a week just doing research.
Oh, hell yeah.
But there was one thing that we had happen on the way up there. We was going up through the mountains because it's a long drive. It took us like 16 and a half hours to get there, 17 hours.
Yeah.
We was going up through, if I'm mistaken, up through Blue Ridge, up in the Pisgah National Forest, okay?
Yeah.
Well, we had got to the very top, all right? And it had been raining a little bit. What was weird, it was like the change of the weather. It was rain, it was snow. It was rain, it was snow. When we got up there. Okay, then it stopped, right? And Tasha can vouch for this because she saw it. We both saw it at the same time.
Okay.
There was no cars in front of us. There was no cars behind us. When we come around this bend, where I call it a bend, but it's basically a curve.
Yeah.
The left hand side of the rock face was there, that big mountain, right? Well, across the other side was like a guardrail which went down off the edge, right?
Yeah.
As we come around the curve, I'm going to say probably the distance of, I'm trying to look right now where I'm sitting out on my porch trying to judge it. I'm going to say maybe, I'm going to say maybe about 80 to 90 feet ahead of us.
Okay.
Okay. When I come around that curve, had the lights on bright, there was something, and I'm going to say something because I don't know what it was, but we saw it clear as a bell. There was something up against the rock face on the left-hand side. Now, it gives me chills even talk about this. This thing was squatted down, not on its knees, but it was squatted down, okay?
Okay.
And it was at least, I'm going to say, if I'm trying to look right now. Let's say, you know how high a rocking chair is?
Yeah.
Okay. About almost to the top of the rocking chair. That's about how tall this thing was squatted down. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when the car lights hit it, and like I said, Tasha can vouch for this because she was with me. When the car lights hit it, this thing turned and looked right dead at us. And then it dropped down on all fours and it went scurrying across the road. But here's the thing. When it went across the road,
Yeah.
this thing was bald. It had no hair on it. Okay. It was grayish looking. You could see the muscle. You could see the muscle moving. You could see the flap on the side of the skin, like in the stomach, fold. It was completely bald, dude. There was no hair whatsoever.
No kidding.
Yes, sir. The back of it was shaped round like a human backside was. Okay. The back legs were bent, not straight like an animal's. They were bent. Okay. The front legs, they were not legs. These things looked like arms. It had a round head, almost like a human's, had just a little bit of a pointed nose, not a long snout, but just a little bit of a pointed nose.
Yeah.
And it had pointed ears. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what that was, but I'm going to tell you it was not a bear. It was not a cougar, a fox, a coon, a deer, nothing else.
Yeah.
It looked to me, when we looked up pictures of what it looked like, a hairless ape is what it looked like.
No shit. Wow.
Yes, sir. Because we saw that, and me and her both looked at each other and said, "What the was that?" And what was weird about it is when it went across the road,
Yeah.
when it dropped down, you could see that it wasn't. It was having trouble walking like that because it didn't want to walk across the road on all fours. But I guess it did that so it wouldn't stand up and run.
Yeah.
So, but you could, it's God's honest truth, man. If people who are going to be listening to this, you can believe me or not, I don't really care.
Right.
But when it went across the road, you could tell the front legs were arms. That's a given. You could tell it was arms. And you could see the muscle in the arms, the entire body. It was completely hairless.
Wow.
But when it got to the other side and it stopped right at the rail, as we were going by, it turned its head and looked right dead at us.
Oh, man.
And that was creepy, dude. I'm going to tell you right now. And we stopped about 30 minutes later, and I was looking at some pictures on my phone, trying to look at stuff. And the only thing that I could find that even matched it is if you look up like a hairless monkey or a hairless chimp or a hairless ape, they're kind of grayish looking. And the way the backside is round and the way the arms look, dude, it looked just like that.
Wow.
Except it had pointed ears.
No shit.
Yes, and that was going up through the Pisgah National Forest.
Okay. Well, that's the first one I've heard of that, but there might be someone out there listening who's heard of it too, and maybe they can comment and let us know, and we can collaborate on that a little bit and see if see if we could get to the bottom of that one. That's amazingly. That's
Oh,
man.
it was something, man. I mean, trust me, I won't forget. I was just talking about it the other day to somebody. But what was weird, like I said, the back end, the backside, it wasn't shaped like an animal. I mean, there was no tail. It
No.
was literally round, just like a chimp's backside is.
Okay.
And like I said, the back legs, you could see where they were bent from the knees. They wasn't straight like an animal's, and you could, like I said, you could tell the front part looked like arms, and you could see the muscle all through this thing.
So when it was crawling, so it actually looked like it was not natural for it to move that
Oh
way.
no! Me and Tasha said the same thing. That's exactly what she said. She said you could tell that thing did not belong on all fours, because when it dropped down, it had this creepy crawl to it, like it did, and it was humped over in the back. It was creepy, dude. I'm telling you, it was like something you see in a horror movie. It just took off.
Did this happen during the night, or was it daytime?
It was about, let's see, I'm trying to think. It was around, I'm gonna say between 2:30 and 2:45 at night. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, quick question, just out of my curiosity, is when your lights hit it, did you see the eye shine?
Well, not really, no. Because when it turned, when like I said, when I come around the curve and it was up against the rock facing, it turned its head, but it didn't turn its head to enough to where like you were looking right dead at its face.
Okay.
But just as soon as it turned its head, it literally just like dropped down and went scurrying across the road. Well, I don't know if we would call it scurrying, but it was, it was trying to crawl. But like I said, the first thing that went through my head was, no, this thing don't belong on all fours, because you could tell it was having trouble walking on all fours because it was using its front hands.
Yeah.
It didn't belong on it. You could tell this thing belonged on its back feet.
Wow, that's
but
pretty wild.
it was, I mean, it was weird, dude. I'll never forget that.
I think, that one probably, I probably would still not be able to sleep after seeing that one.
We talked about that thing for hours, man. I mean, like I said, it was about a 16, 17-hour drive, and we talked about it from, good Lord, halfway up and halfway back.
No kidding, man.
So
because we got back to that one area, we said hopefully we'll see it again during the day.
Oh, excuse me. Go ahead, Tyler. Sorry.
I was just going to ask, like, has there been any other sightings like this, like a hairless creature out there, or is this like something new that you haven't heard while you were there?
Well, no. Now, like I said, this happened like going up into the Pisgah National Forest up on the bypass. I mean, I've heard of reports of the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, up in that area. There's numerous reports up towards the Pisgah National Forest. The only thing that I have ever heard about that was hairless looking up that way was somebody had reported seeing what they called the dogman.
Yeah.
And they said it was hairless looking. But if this thing was a dogman, I don't think that's what it was, because like I said, it had no tail. It wasn't an animal. This was not no animal. I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
And like I said, if you look up a hairless ape or a hairless chimp, and it shows them walking on all fours, that's exactly what we saw, except it had pointed ears and had just a little bit of a point to like a snout. Exactly what it looked like. And it was gray looking, not like a dark gray, but kind of like a light gray. Yeah.
Like a clay almost?
Almost like a clay looking. Because like I said, when it dropped down and took off across the road, you could see the skin fold on the side, and you could see the muscles in it, man, clear as a bell moving.
Okay. Oh, wow,
it was,
man.
It wasn't small, I'll put it like this, but it wasn't big and bulky, but you could see the muscle on it.
So what do you have ambitions to go back there and research?
Yeah, I had thought about it when I get time, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure have.
Right on. That's
because I would love, if I can pinpoint that spot, I would love to go back to that one spot, because I'm sure that, if people were to actually talk about it, if it done that once going across that road, I'm sure it's done it probably before and people's actually seen it, but they just don't say nothing about it.
Oh, there's always a chance we could get some comments or even an email about it right here on the show. That's been happening a lot more lately, where someone will say they saw something in an area, and they feel like they might be called crazy or whatever, and then there you have it. We have someone who will email in or write in and comment and say, hey, you know what, I actually saw something really similar to that in that same area. So it actually helps when trying to plot out these sightings. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Because I mean, there's that's like down my area. Uwharrie.
Yeah.
There's numerous sightings all the time, especially road. Never mind. There is two things that has happened since I talked to you last. I can't think about that. How much roadside crossings? Me and my wife had went down to Low Water Bridge. I went down to pick up my audio. and we came back. But I went down there, but the bridge was underwater, so I had to turn around and go back the other way. As I was coming back, I was on like the backside of West Morris, which is Opar Road.
Yeah.
We come around a curve, and this was like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I saw it clear as a bell. And actually, just as soon as I saw it, I stopped and done a video and a recreation right there. That's on the YouTube page too. So
I think I've seen that one. Actually, I think we talked about this one.
Yes, that's the one that I saw going up the hill.
Yeah, I remember that.
Literally, what I saw, this is no lie, what I saw when I come around the curve is I got just maybe a good 2 to 3 second glance at it. It had already come across the road. It's come across the road, and there's a steep embankment. And I mean, you would literally have to get on hands and knees just to run up that thing. You're not going to run straight up it.
Yeah.
So what I saw this big brown looking mass. I know it wasn't a deer because I know what deers look like. It don't matter how far off you see them. You can see a deer, you know what deer looks like.
Yeah. This
thing was a big, brown, bulky looking mass. And what I literally saw was like what looked like I'm gonna say the head and part of the back. That's what it looked like. It looked like a big head and a big hump from the back. And it was dark brown, kind of brownish black, but more brown than anything. And I saw it go straight. I saw it when it hit the embankment, and it went straight up the embankment. Okay. Now this thing was big and bulky. I'm telling you right now, it was as tall as the sign that was right down the road from it, the little caution sign.
Yeah.
So I stopped the car and got out, and I done a recreation, done a little video, a video right there. And when I did, I found a footprint or track on one side of the road where it came across.
Yeah.
I found a footprint on the other side of the road where it hit the grass, and then I found 2 more tracks that went straight at the embankment. Now, what's funny about that is there's another guy that I talked to. He said he saw the same thing, not in that area, but he saw the exact same thing almost to the T a while back, but he saw it when it was going across the road and it went up. He saw it when it grabbed like a tree with its arm and pulled itself up in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, now that happened. I'm not sure how long ago it's been, but he saw almost the same thing I did.
Oh, wow. That's pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. Other than that, I was in one of my areas one night, and I was just laying in the back of the car. And actually, again, it's on my YouTube page, the same video. I'm doing the night vision so I can do the video.
No.
And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden, I got the parabolic district on top of the car so I can listen.
Right.
I'm laying there, and I hear what sounds like a baby crying in the woods.
Ugh.
And I'm like, no, there's nobody here but me. There should be hearing no baby crying. So it stopped, and a few minutes later, it done it again, and then it just stopped. Well, about an hour later, in that same spot, it sounded like something was literally ripping a tree apart. Like it literally had a hold of a tree and just like it was just literally ripping the tree apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not.
Then about probably 4 o'clock in the morning, I heard the sound of a baby crying again, and I don't mean like a little whimper.
Yeah.
It sounded like a small baby in the woods just crying.
Oh God. Yeah. That's not for me. That's not for me.
Now, see, I've heard that before, where people talk about that. You know, when you hear the sound of a baby crying,
yeah,
that they're trying to lure you into the woods. So, yeah.
I think they're gonna have to come up with something different if they want to lure me in there, because that's not gonna work. I can tell you right now.
Oh no,
if I'm sitting there in the middle of pitch black and I hear a baby crying in the woods, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go get a sandwich somewhere, and I'm out of here.
I think that's what I would like. That would lure me in. Is hey, we got a buffet back in here. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on back here, guys. Free beer. Yeah, oh, there we go.
Yeah. We got free beer, a jar peanut butter, cigar.
Yeah.
Anybody want to come?
Hopefully none of these critters can hear all this, so we're not giving them ideas.
Oh, no.
That's terrible.
I don't worry about that. I mean, some people believe, they use tools and this, that, and the other, and they make fire, but I don't believe in all that. Now I can say that as far as the tools go, I don't believe they use the crossbows and they make an axe and that, and I don't believe that.
Yeah.
But that's movie makeup. But I do believe they use tools, though. I do believe, because we have found some weird things out there before. Where it looks like someone had taken a rock and sharpened it to a point, and it'd be just like in the middle of nowhere. It's not like you can actually find it. You know, you
Right,
actually just got to walk up on it. And I may be wrong. You know, like I said, you know, people believe what they want,
Oh, yeah.
but I believe that they use these tools kind of like the Indians did. You know, that when they want to scrape the fur off the hide or whatever.
Yeah.
I believe they do the same thing. I really do. I don't believe they're using their fingers to strip it. I believe they're making something to do it with.
Well, you know, we found a video a while back of an alleged Sasquatch, and I made my son dig into it with me, and he actually broke it down frame by frame. Like he put it in his computer, broke the video down frame by frame, and it shows this thing stand up and sidearm throw a rock about the size of the one you were describing earlier that you guys experienced.
Yeah.
And when he actually gave me the math, he actually broke it down to frame by frame, and that the video had been slowed, so you have to move this and blah blah blah, carry the one, you know. And he gets all the way down to it. He goes, "Dad, this thing stood up and threw all under 1 second." So then we measured we basically did a guess based on about 12 feet, and our guess said that at the slow end of the spectrum, it was throwing this rock at 90 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
And at the high end of the spectrum, it was well over 115 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you know, if I could throw a rock that big that fast, I don't really need any guns or knives. Then I mean, that's enough to kill a guy. We have a report a while back of a guest who we talked to that a guy he was exploring and researching with had one of these rocks hit him in the side of the head, and it caved in the side of his face.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that they're well skilled enough to get by with rocks and sticks. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, yeah. You know, that's another thing too. Talking about that rock, that one that me and Tasha had thrown at us. Now, like I said, it's kind of hard to explain how big it is without seeing it.
Yeah.
But when I say the size of a bowl, like if you go to Walmart and you buy like them little plastic bowls that you want to eat out and throw away,
Sure.
it's about one size of them. So I'd say, you know, it's probably about maybe 5 inches wide. But like I said, if you go look at the video, you'll see it. It's got some weight to it. I mean, it's got a lot of weight to it.
Yeah.
For that thing to be thrown through the wood, through them trees like a baseball.
Exactly.
When I chunked it up in the air, I mean, there's no way I could have took it and even throwed it very far.
No.
That far. But this thing came through the trees, and you could hear it just coming through the trees like a baseball.
Yeah, that takes so much strength, you know, that
Yeah.
Oh yeah, to hurl it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It wasn't a man that threw it. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was strange too. That same video that Denny was talking about, the way he said sidearm throw. Think about that too. Like the way baseball players. I don't know how heavy those baseballs. I know that's not even a pound.
Yeah, they're no boulder.
Yeah, it's no boulder, but sidearm throw, like just kind of flinging it.
Oh yeah.
You have to have some tremendous
Oh,
upper
God,
body
yeah.
strength for that.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it makes sense though. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the models that we've seen and most of the anatomy. I mean, look at the trap area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that alone, the width. I mean, the bulk, the weight behind it to pivot and throw.
Oh yeah.
You know,
remember
that's
we compared it to that gorilla throwing something at a zoo.
yeah.
The way he threw he threw a piece of wood like
You mean the one
Yep.
the Reddit user skipped right to the gorilla and
Yeah.
told us that our video was a gorilla, not a Bigfoot? That one?
yeah
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Thank
like-
you, Reddit. We
yeah.
appreciate that. We knew
People
it was
that
a
actually-
gorilla. We were making an example.
Yeah, people don't actually.
Oh, don't worry.
watch the videos.
People try to get a 60 straight real quick. Don't worry.
Yep. We've been experiencing it. We've definitely been experiencing it. We
Oh,
set it
man.
up as a comparison. We were like, hey, you know, here's something else that throws like this. And some guy comes, you know, the caped crusader, he just flies right in and he goes, "That's a gorilla, not a Bigfoot." And we're sitting here like, "Bless you, sir. Bless you."
Yeah.
If you kind
Good
of
job.
go back a couple steps there, you would actually figure out that we were comparing.
Context, folks. Context.
Oh yeah. People just can't wait, man. I mean, I try not to bash people, but people just can't wait just to jump in with both feet just so they can ridicule you.
Oh yeah.
I get it all the time, man. I've had so many just people just tearing to me left. Okay, for example, when I posted the video
Yeah.
about that dead boar, you know, it's just a video about the dead boar and us talking about Boggy Creek and going to Denny Roberts and getting our Woods Walker coffee in the Monster Mart.
Right.
people tore into me like it was no tomorrow. I mean, the first comment was like, "Oh my God, you posted a video of a dead boar. Wow, this is the best that you can do." Okay, then the next one was like, "Oh wow, it's just a dead pig. Why, stupid? Why are you posting stuff like?" I mean, people just tore into me, man. And I'm like, it's just a video of a dead pig, and
Now, you know what's funny about that is
get a life.
if 5 minutes later, if something crazy would have happened and you would have showed that, those same people would have been like, "Well, why didn't you show the 5 minutes before?"
Yes, that's right.
So you can't
That's
win,
exactly right.
And we've actually addressed this, that we have a very, very serious divide going on in this whole topic, and I still fully believe that everybody, no matter what your point of view is about these cryptids and these creatures, I feel like we're all holding cards here that all go to one big puzzle, and we all need to start throwing our cards in and saying, "Hey, I might not agree with what you're saying, but let me throw mine right in there with you, and let's compare them." Instead of just going, "Oh, a dead pig." Come on, man.
Oh, we know what's funny, man. I'm in several Bigfoot groups.
Yeah.
I used to be in one a while back for years, but things happened, and I left that group.
Yeah.
Because it's full of trolls. That's pretty much what it is.
Oh, yeah.
But what gets me is people want to argue. This is what I found funny. People want to argue over something that has not even been found to exist yet. Okay? We may have DNA, we may have the bones, or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But to this day, we cannot prove 100% that this creature, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Omaha, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
that this thing actually exists. But you go into some of these Bigfoot groups and listen to these people talk, and they just tear into each other like they're arguing over politics, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like somebody talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
They don't like one, and they want to tear into each other. And Bigfoot's the same way, man. I mean, all you got to do is say, like, for example, I saw a comment somebody put on that one group that said, how was it? They said, does anyone believe that Bigfoot hibernates like bears? Oh, my God. Dude, they were coming out of the woodworks.
No.
I mean, it was unreal. People just cussing each other like dogs. I'm like, really? Over this?
Exactly, yeah. We've noticed it, too.
Yeah, I think we got shot at for... We think that we put up a thing saying that they migrate. Like, some of them migrate.
We've got a lot of patterns showing a migration.
Yeah, it shows a migration pattern. Yeah. So, and then we're getting shot at. Like, I'm like, come on, just we're doing our own research. Like, it might be wrong or something. We might be missing something, but
plus two is when we said migrate, we didn't say annually migrating, and a lot of people take that as out of context. They assume migrating is every year, same way, same every time. That's not the case. I'm saying we found one pattern of a migration path. That's it. We didn't find any evidence that it repeated. We just found one trail. That's it.
Yes, that's it. And think about what you just told me right there.
No.
That's like me and my research over the years. So I've been doing this now for close to 15 years, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm no expert, and there is I don't care who you are. There is no such thing as a Bigfoot expert. I don't care who you are.
Amen.
I laugh when I see these conferences like, "Hey, come meet the Bigfoot expert."
Yeah.
No, you're not an expert. You're doing the same thing I'm doing. You're researching, you're guessing, you're trying to put it together.
Yeah.
Unless you're like Jane Goodall and you live with these creatures, you stay with these creatures, you watch how they eat, how they poop, how they bury their dead. Then you're an expert.
And
Other than that, you're just an everyday researcher.
And you know what? Jane is a treasure, honestly.
And she believes that Bigfoot could exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I heard a video, they were doing a video about it, and she was doing an interview, and they said, "Do you believe it?" She's like, "Well, there is evidence of a unknown primate around here."
Yeah,
so
and that's enough for her.
That's enough for her. She's like,
enough.
"I don't know if it's a Bigfoot or whatever you guys are talking about, but it's an unknown primate, and that's exciting."
The one thing that gets me, man, is I know I've said this before, and I hate repeating myself over and over again, but it comes in. This happens a lot in this topic. Is that
yes, it does.
In the court of law, in this beautiful country, eyewitness account is admissible as evidence, and yet as soon as we get thousands of encounters. And these people, when they sit across from you and they tell you about their story, and you see their reaction, their eyes dilating, you see that something happened to them.
Yep.
How can we, how can we say that all of a sudden that eyewitness account is worthless to us? That's
Oh, I know, dude.
That's
I know.
unacceptable to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
that's like, oh no, you're fine. Cause I kind of broke up on you there. I'm moving around. Another thing too, like talking about my research, it's something I've learned over the years is like you talk about how their patterns are.
Yeah.
Now, I've talked to several people. Like this one guy went out to his property, and I won't call no names, but he has them literally living on his property, and that's no joke.
Right.
They're there. They are there. Okay. Then you got another guy went out to his property. He every once in a blue moon he'll see one. Well, the reason why is because they're just passing through. They're not staying. Okay. And that's like, I don't know why they do that. Like I said, I'm no expert. Nobody is. But some of them pass through just going through the area. That's why every once in a while somebody's like, well, why does this person, they got encounters all the time where they're living on the property. And then this next person's like, well, I might have something happen maybe once, twice a year. That's because it's just coming through. It ain't living out there.
Yeah.
Like in Uwharrie. Now, I can tell you right now, in Uwharrie, like I said, I pretty much know the area like the back of my hand. There is 3 areas that I know for a fact, and there's other guys who know me who can vouch for me when I say this, that the creature is there all the time. It doesn't leave. It may travel so far and only so many miles, but it comes right back. Then you got other ones in certain parts of Uwharrie that they just move through. They're just moving through because you got, like, I call them like different clans. You got A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. But the ones that are staying there, from what I can see, and from what I've pinpointed on a map, and what was funny about that is I talked to a guy who's a highway patrolman. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a researcher, and he was spotting certain areas that before me and him, I'd never met him, but we talked on the phone. He told me that he had been doing like a pinpoint of areas where there was sightings or something happening, and where he was doing his research, right?
Yeah.
And so I started looking at a map basically the same way that he did. And he's exactly right. Like where he was having one sighting here, and then there was something happening over here, and then there was another place over here. Basically, it was like a triangle shape.
Right.
Exactly. So what they're doing, they're only moving so far, and then they're going to another section, and they're coming back. They're not leaving the area.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
like
which
a perimeter.
is really weird because there's one area that I know for a fact, and I mean, I would bet if I had $1 million, I'd bet $1 million. But I don't. Woods Walker Coffee ain't got there yet, but we're getting there. But no, there's one area down there, and this is the truth, that it's just like clockwork, man. They come up the creek bed. They come from a certain area.
Yeah.
They come up the creek bed. They go across the road, and they come back before the night's over. And it's just like clockwork. Me and 2 other guys have actually seen them on flare video doing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got them on video. He's got them on video doing it. I won't call no names, but we sat out there one night, and I don't know if I told y'all about this on the last one I was on there or not. But we sat out the creek bed. It was me and 2 other guys, and we kept saying, you like Boggy Creek bed. I always follow the creek bed. Yeah. So we said that's what we're gonna do one night. We're just gonna sit out there and watch. And I mean, sure as I'm sitting there smoking this cigar, talking to you, about 11:45. And it was during the winter, about 11:45. The guy that's sitting there with me, he's got his flare hooked to his phone, so he's sitting there looking.
Right.
And he's like, "Lee," I said, "What?" He goes, "Look, dude," he said, "we got company." And coming up the creek bed, exactly like we talked about, there was 3 of them coming up the creek bed. Okay. Yeah. And I've always said, where there's 1, there's 2, where there's 2, there's 3. These things are never alone. Never. They're never alone. Okay, we saw these things. One was behind one tree, another tree, another tree. Now the guy's got the video, and it's clear as a bell, man, on flare. Yeah. You can see the big one, we call him the big one. He leans out on the left-hand side of the tree. You can see his head clear as a bell. He goes from one side of the tree to the other. And then the guy that was doing the video, on the video, he zips up he was wearing like this big coat because it was cold. He zips it up, and when he zips it up, he aims the phone up in the air so you can see the trees, right?
Yeah.
Well, when he comes back down with the flare and the phone, God is my witness, man. This thing is leaned out beside the tree. You can see the head, you can see the arm, the shoulder, everything. And it was looking right dead at us.
No kidding.
Okay. Yes. Now, I believe with all my heart that if we had been completely hid out, so we didn't know that if we were there, those things would have walked right by us.
Wow.
Because they done exactly what I've been saying for years. They follow the creek bed. That's their walkway. That's how they know where to go and how to get back from.
No kidding. Now,
And another thing too that I know for a fact is when they walk the creek beds, they will walk in the water.
walking in the water?
Yes, sir. They walk in the water. They sure do.
No kidding.
Yes, sir.
Wow, we've definitely seen a lot of pattern since we talked to you last creek beds, rivers, lakes. It's always a common denominator. I mean, it's always a factor. You know, they're always right by it.
It is, man. I mean, it's just like that's like some people say. You know, they use the power lines. They use the big power things. That's how they walk. You know.
Yeah.
And when I say that, some people's like, "You mean they actually walk the power lines?" No, I mean they're following the power lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, the creek bed. I mean, because you know, if you get lost in the woods, you follow a creek bed, you're going to find your way out. And they're doing the same way, man. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
It's just a pattern. I mean, but those creatures in Uwharrie, like I said, there's 3 different clans down there that I know of. I know for a fact. Because like I said, you know, researching 15 years, I kind of know what I'm doing now. I'm no expert, but I kind of know what I'm doing. They stay in one section, and then you got the other ones who just, you know, they just pass through the area, and that's the God's honest truth.
You know, Lee, I just thought of something, and if this is way too far out there, just stop me. But
I've heard everything.
Uwharrie has quite a bit of different things going on in it, doesn't it?
Uwharrie I like Uwharrie, but I'm telling you right now, Uwharrie is a weird place. It's got some creepy stuff going on out there. Yes, it does.
Okay, so what I'm getting at here is that, so I personally read about Uwharrie UFO sightings, hauntings.
Oh, dude, yes.
And then there's the big thing that I want to bring up to you, orbs. And
oh my God,
the orbs.
Yes, I was fixing to say that.
The thing is we've been working on this one for a while. We keep hearing stories and encounters, and you know what's funny is some of the people who report this actually come out later and say, "Hey, you know, I actually left that out because, you know, I'm already reporting a Sasquatch. I feel dumb saying this, but they literally will come out and say that this Sasquatch was surrounded by orbs, or it had orbs floating around it, or it was carrying one in one encounter."
Yeah.
Is that something that are you in on that? Or how do you feel about that whole subject?
You know, that's kind of like a touch and go subject.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say if I believe it or if I don't. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I have seen, and I'll just put point blank, I have seen some weird shit in Uwharrie.
Yeah.
I have. And if you had to bleep that out, I'm sorry.
No, we're fine. Our listeners are mostly adults.
Okay. Yeah, better not bring your kids. But I know what I'm saying is, like, I have seen, and I've seen it with other researchers. I've seen it with other people. I've seen it by myself.
Yeah.
There's certain parts of Uwharrie, and this is no lie, dude. It looks just like in the dead of night, pitch black. It looks like the woods just light up. And this is God's honest truth. I'm just trying to explain how I can say it. Yeah. It literally looks like a big spotlight just lights the forest up for 3 or 4 seconds, and then it's gone. Now, I've seen that numerous times. I've seen what looks like someone, you can't see the person, but let's say if you see somebody in the woods and they're holding their lantern and they're going back and forth with it.
Yeah.
I've seen what looks like that. The orbs, I have physically seen an orb with a cameraman from Fox 8 News when he first did an interview with me, because that was like back in 2010.
Yeah.
He came down one night, and he asked me, he said, "Do you mind if I hang out with you after we do the interview?" And I said, "No." So we were standing in the campground talking.
Right.
And no lie, this guy, he kept looking at me, but I noticed he kept turning his head to the left. It was like around 1 o'clock in the morning, and there was nobody down there, just me and him, the dead of night. And he turned his head, and he asked me, he said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "No, I didn't." He said, "I just saw something like a ball of light floating in the air." I said, "Really?" He said, and I had already seen it before he even said that, like prior to that. So we stood there about 30 minutes talking, right? And all of a sudden, he's like, dude, he said, look, right there it is. And it was maybe, I'm going to say maybe 40 feet from us. It wasn't very far. It was a round, whitish blue looking ball of light, about the size of a tennis ball. And it was going slow through the air, and it was leaving like an entrail behind it.
Wow.
And that's the God's honest truth. Now, I've seen that, oh, Lord. I've been doing research for almost 15 years. I've seen that probably 10 or 12 times down there.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. And I've also heard what sounds like, now, you already saw, I'll tell you that right now. Oh, I've caught some crazy audio out of there, man. What sounds like a female humming and singing. I have caught on audio, and I'm talking, when I put my recorder out there, I put it out there when nobody else is around, in the middle of nowhere. I've caught what sounds like Indians chanting and playing a drum, beating on a drum. I've caught that. I've caught what sounds like a woman singing and humming.
Wow.
I've caught what sounds like, it's been a while back, but it sounded like two people were talking to each other, but kind of arguing.
Yeah.
I got some audio somewhere, and this is probably the weirdest audio I've got. We had left the recorder out there for 2 days, 48 hours. Now, on the recorder, if anybody uses a digital recorder, these things are sensitive. I mean, they'll pick up anything. So I had it tied up in a tree, and you can hear us leaving out, okay?
Yeah.
So for 2 days straight, nobody goes in, nobody comes out. There's one way in, one way out. On the first night, you don't hear nothing. On the second night, about probably, I'm going to say between 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning,
No.
just out of the blue, man. I mean, out of the blue. It sounds like somebody starts going like, ha-cha, shik-chop-one, ha-cha, just like that. And I'm like, what in God's name is that? Who is this? Because I didn't hear nobody come in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it does it again. And then a few minutes later, it does it again. But when it does it the third time, something answers it. Because it's like, cha-cha-chi-cha-ha-da. And then something answers it like, ho-ta-cha-cha-cha-da, just like that. Like gibberish.
Wow.
And this goes on for like maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and then it quiets down, and you'll hear nothing else the rest of the night.
Now, don't they call that a phenomenon the samurai talk?
Yes. So I
or
sent
something
that
like
to I sent that to a guy I know. He said, well, let me send this to a buddy of mine who's Native American. I said, all right. So he sent it to him, and that guy, I'm not going to call his name, he got back with me. He asked me, he said, where did you get this audio? And I said, I got it at the Uwharrie National Forest. And he said, well, I'm going to tell you something. He said, do you realize what they're doing? And I said, yeah. I said, they're speaking to each other. He said, yeah. He said, well, you're right about that. He said, they're speaking to each other. He said, but that is like Native American language. He said, that's like if, he said, like when he would go out with his uncles and they'd go hunting, he said, if they were in one part of the woods and they were in another part, and they would yell back and forth like that, communicate, let them know where they're at.
Wow.
And that's exactly what they were doing. He said, but the thing about that is, he said, that's not a human voice. He said, but what you got there is two, whatever you want to call these things, these creatures. He said, they're communicating with each other. They're talking to each other.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, now that's about you are.
Yeah, that'd be enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm out.
Yeah, and talking about you talking about the UFOs. Oh yeah, dude, there's been UFO sightings down there. We saw something down there. This is 2021. It was last year. It was during the I think it was like last January. Well, actually, again, it's on my YouTube page. If you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
No.
We were sitting out by our campfire, right?
Right.
And we're just like this open-looking field, and you can see the top of the hill, basically where the old man of the forest is. That's what I call it. And so we're sitting there, and over the left-hand side, like the little mountain ridge, we see like this. It looks like a red ball of light. Okay.
No.
And it's kind of like oval shaped, like a Tylenol pill. It comes up, like I said, if you go to my YouTube page, you'll see what I'm talking about. It comes up over that hill, and it goes to the right, real slow. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, before that happened, I mean, you can tell what a plane looks like. You can tell what a helicopter looks like when it's going over. You see the flashing lights. This thing it came up, like it came up off the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back behind the mountain, right? It goes to the right, real slow. There's no sound whatsoever. It's absolutely quiet. It goes to the right, real slow, and then it just kind of like stops and hovers. Then it kind of angles up at almost like a 45-degree angle, and it goes up a little further, then it comes back down, goes over a little further, and it just sits there, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it just like, it just goes straight up and it's gone.
Wow.
Now, you know, I've seen that happen in Uwharrie 2 or 3 times. I mean, and I don't know, but yeah. But I've heard people talk about, you know, the orbs with the Bigfoots and this, that, and the other. But me personally, no, I've never seen nothing like that. I've never seen nothing like that. But like I said, I have seen. Oh, here's one. I haven't talked about this a lot. Okay. This happened. You remember me last time I was talking to y'all? I was telling you about the guy named Sam. Sam I am. We had that encounter together.
Yeah.
We're walk up on. Okay.
Sam I am.
Sam I am.
Yep.
Everybody wants to talk to Sam, but he's not around anymore. We was down in a certain section in Uwharrie, and it was me, Sam, and it was 3 other guys. We were up on this hill, right? And now all 5 of us witnessed this. Okay. We're up on this hill, and we got our campsite down below the hill up in the low area. To the right-hand side of the forest, around probably 12:30 at night,
No.
we see what looks like a lantern just come. It like lights up into the forest, and it goes from one side of the woods to the other, and it's going back and forth. Well, all of a sudden, it starts coming down. It's like somebody's walking through the woods carrying it. Well, it gets about halfway to probably where we're at, and Sam hollers out. He said, hey, whoa. He said, this is our campsite. He said, we're camped out here. He said, so here we are. You know, you don't need to come in our campsite. Well, it just keeps coming. So Sam hollers again. Well, a few seconds later, the light just dissipates. It's gone. And we're all just standing there like, okay, now what was this? Well, about 10 minutes go by, it does it again. The exact same light started in the exact same part of the woods, done the exact same thing, came right down through the woods. But this time, it came all the way down, and it came down the hill. And when the guy that was with us, at this time, I didn't have the flare.
Yeah.
He had his flare, and he was looking. And he said, guys, I don't know what that is. He said, but there's nobody out there. He said, he said, the ball of light and that's one thing about a flare. If you use a flashlight, you can't see it. The light does not show up on the flare.
Yeah.
He couldn't see nothing, but we could see it with the naked eye. So when it comes down the hill, when it gets down at the bottom of the hill, God is my witness, man. Like I said, 5 of us witnessed this. The ground at the bottom of the hill, it looked like a spotlight. And this is the God's honest truth. If I'm lying, I'm dying right here. It looked like a spotlight was under the ground, a round-looking light.
Yeah.
Looked like it was under the dirt. It lit up, no lie. It lit up for maybe 4 to 5 seconds, and it looked like not a real bright beam of light, but you could see like a beam of light went straight up in the air when that light was coming towards it, and it was gone just like that.
Wow. That's
yes, sir. Yes,
that's
sir.
pretty incredible.
I've had somebody ask me that I think that was a port that opened up, and I said, well, I can't say if it was or wasn't, but 5 of us witnessed it that night, and we talked about that for God knows how long.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
That's odd that you said that, the whole light coming up from the ground. We actually had a guest. I think it was like our third guest.
Yeah, it was after we talked to Lee.
Yeah. Well, I think we had one episode.
Actually, if you think about it, everybody we talked to was after Lee.
Yeah, after Lee, yeah.
Until now. So there you go.
But yeah, we talked to her, and she had a couple Bigfoot sightings and Dogman sightings, and she said that she was sitting out on our back porch. She has this big open backyard, and she said that she saw something walking through the tall grass. She saw a beam of light come out of the ground.
Really?
And then something walk to it, and then just go down, and then the light was gone.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like it's awesome that you're telling this story, because it's actually lining up with other people's stories.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like it's really cool that there's actually more sightings of this. There's more than at least one.
You know, Lee, there was something I've been personally kind of looking into lately. Are you familiar with Scott Carpenter's stuff?
Oh yeah. I don't know him personally, but I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's got I mean, I don't know. I actually don't know what the school of thought is called or anything. I really like watching him because I like his take on things regarding the Nephilim and all that. You know, he's put out a couple videos of these portals, you know, and actually showing, you know, some creature thing in the portal. And my wife is a professional photographer, and I actually put the video on her laptop, and I gave it to her, and I'm like, okay, tell me how a camera lens can do this. And I didn't tell her nothing else. I said, I just want to know, can this be done with the camera lens? And she sat there for probably a good 20, 30 minutes working on it. And then she called my son over and made him sit there with her. And then they both dived in for another good 20 minutes. And at the end of it, you know, in the video itself, you literally see a, I don't know how to explain it. It's a round portal with a being in the center of it. And the being actually turns its head at one point. And after she sat there forever, it actually gave her the creeps. She goes, this being is being affected by the light that's coming at it, just like everything around it. She goes, whatever it is, it's in this video. It's not been added to it.
Cool.
And I'm sitting there like, okay, I wasn't expecting that answer, so it caught me off guard a little bit. What's your thoughts, man, on this whole portal thing? I mean, this is crazy stuff, in my opinion.
I've been hearing it for years, and, you know, I can't, like I said, I'm no expert, you know, nobody is, but I can't say that I 100% agree with the portals.
Yeah.
But I've seen stuff, you know, then again, like I said, I've seen that beam of light come up out of the ground.
Right.
I've seen, now here's another thing too, talking about that beam of light. I've seen this twice now, but the second time we saw it, we was down in Uwharrie, and we were sitting around a campfire. We was probably 5 miles back. Okay.
Yeah.
About 12 o'clock at night. Well, no, actually, it wasn't even that late. That's about 11:45. Dead of night. The stars were out. The moon wasn't out, but stars were out. Okay.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, and we got inside the vehicle, and we're sitting, and I'm listening to the parabolic dish, you know, this, that, and the other.
Right.
And all of a sudden, and this is truth. I mean, I've got a witness. You know, they can vouch for everything I'm saying.
Okay.
We saw a beam of light. This is no lie. It looked like a giant spotlight came on at a 45-degree angle for about maybe 2 seconds,
Yeah.
and it went right back off. Now, when that light came on, and I'm not gonna lie to you, when that light came on, it lit up the entire forest like the sun had just come out for 2 seconds and went right back off.
Wow.
But
yeah.
it was a straight beam of light at 45-degree angle. Now, here's the weird thing. When that happened, and like I said, people can believe me or not. I'm the type of guy, I don't care. If you believe me, that's fine. If you don't, hey, I'm good with that too.
Yeah.
When that happened, the battery in my flare, the parabolic dish, the camcorder went dead instantly. It was drained.
No
completely
kidding.
dead. Oh, yes. Okay. Completely drained. But right after that, we got out. We got out of the vehicle, and we just standing there like, did we just see what we just thought we saw? And we just like, what was that? And, you know, so one of the things, you know, you can't wrap your mind around it because,
Yeah.
you know, you just can't, you know, fathom what just happened because you just saw it with, you just saw it with the naked eye. This didn't come off the video. You just literally saw it.
No.
And while we were standing there, you know, we got out of the car like maybe 1 minute after this happened because I went over because I noticed the parabolic dish cut off, and I'm like, wait a minute, why is my dish off? And I started listening to it, and then I went over to the flare. The flare was dead. The camcorder, the record, everything was completely dead. It drained everything that I had out there had batteries in it.
Wow.
Okay. So while we got out, we was looking at the stuff, you know, like I said, that beam of light had happened like 2 minutes prior to that. We heard a yell come from the forest. That just like that yell come from the forest.
Yeah.
Now, I talked to another guy about that. He was a hunter. About probably 2 weeks later, because he contacted me about that, because after I posted it.
Right.
He said, man, that's what takes it. He said, I'm a hunter. And he had the same thing happen in Uwharrie 18 years prior to me seeing this. He said he was out hunting early one morning. He said he was out in the woods about 2 miles back. And he said, man, all of a sudden, he said, I'm sitting like next to a tree waiting for the deers. He said, all of a sudden, on the right-hand side, he said a freaking beam of light came down from the sky, and it lit the forest up, just like I detailed it to him. He said, but that happened like 18 years ago. And
Wow.
He said, what was so weird about that was, he said, when that beam of light came down, He said that his battery and his phone or whatever he had on him
Yeah.
was completely dead. It drained his phone or whatever he had on him. It was dead, and he said a few minutes later he heard a loud yell come from the forest.
No kidding.
And he told me, he said he had never talked about that until he heard me talking about that. He wanted to actually talk to me about it. Now, could that be related to like the portal thing? Let's just say, that beam of light came down and, people talk about UFOs and Bigfoot. They believe, they beam them down, they take them back up.
Right.
I can't swear to that. I can't say I believe it, but I can't say that I don't believe it because I've seen so many weird things now.
Right. Yeah.
But honest to God, though, the beam of light that we saw, maybe 2 minutes later, there was a yell. He said he saw a beam of light. He heard the yell too. And after that incident, I've had other people, has come to me, and, well, not personally, but, they sent me messages.
Yeah.
And said that they've experienced that too, like the light coming down, and after that light is seen, there's a yell coming from the forest.
Wow.
Now, I don't know, man, but like I said, it's one of the things you just can't wrap your head around. You really can't.
Yeah.
But it happens. It happens.
I'm sitting here I know I'm not, I don't seem like I'm adding a lot, but I'm listening to what you're saying, and my gears are just turning, I'm like,
oh yeah,
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I mean, it's not like what you're telling me right now is crazy. It's that there's so many reports like this. Mm-hmm. That's what's getting me right now.
And a lot of times people won't talk about it. There's so much stuff that happens out there when it comes to orbs and UFOs and Bigfoots, and people just don't want to talk about it because it's just like clockwork, man. Just as soon as you say, I saw Bigfoot, they look at you like you're a monkey with a math problem.
Yeah.
They just look at you like you just lost your mind or something else. Or they want to ridicule you.
It's like lately, 6-7 months ago when we started this, we went into it with a very non-biased, like, hey, we don't want to be another, I mean, I don't know a better way to put this, Ty, but we didn't want to be another, douchebag podcast that just tries to ridicule people or call people out. Yeah. We thought, wouldn't it be cool to just talk to people and literally just learn, and then over time we'll gather up all these stories. Maybe we'll find a pattern, maybe we'll be able to help out, and then I started like that, and I stayed on the fence, on the middle, and so did Tyler, and then here we are 6-7 months later, and we're both sitting here like somebody's messaging us saying, hey, yeah, I heard that scream, that crazy hell scream is, it's been reported in Florida. And they got another one over in California, and they got another one up in Maine and up in Canada and, in South America. And me and Tyler sitting here and we're going, okay, well, that alone, what animal do we have in all of those areas with that much lung power that can make this sound? Yeah. And you know what the crappy thing about this topic is that you can be a skeptic unless you research. Because once you research, and then you're gonna get to something in the research where you're like, oh, okay, I don't exactly know what the hell is going on here.
Oh God, yeah, dude, been there many times.
And then after that, I don't know about you, Tyler, but for me, it's really hard to be skeptical now.
Yeah, I'm literally, I can't be a skeptic on this anymore. There's too many encounters and eyewitness accounts that. And it fits too many. Yeah. To like reoccurring, like repeating things.
Repeating.
Like just
patterns.
like I was saying about you seeing that light, and then another guest of ours, and you don't know her,
no.
And she had this almost a similar thing that you had. That's crazy. Like that's something that like you can't be a skeptic on that. So no matter what I believe that it could have been, since I wasn't there, but you guys saw something and it was. It's probably like it happened
to you, yeah.
So, like the portals thing, I just don't know, it's crazy to me because nothing in this world can do that. That's something out of this world. So that's where I'm like so on the fence with the portals.
The thing that gets me is that I find myself doing the same thing where I'm like, okay, Bigfoot, hey, good probability, good chance of it. Hey, I mean, there's a lot of different things going on there that I think are very, very good chances. The Dogman, I don't know, but again, there's some strange patterning going on there. And then, someone comes out and they say, well, orbs. Hey, you know what? I was a ghost hunter when I was younger. I've seen orbs. I've got pictures, laying back in a storage unit at my parents' house that I've never even showed my wife or children before. I've seen some crazy stuff happen. So
I grew up
I'm
in a
on
house
board
that
with
was
that,
haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into the paranormal. I used to do ghost hunts before I got into Bigfoot research, and I've seen some weird things, man.
One night we'll have to do an episode where I'll actually tell my story of Bobby Mackey's and a couple of other places I've been to around the tri-state here. But what I'm getting at here is that, we come all the way around to UFOs, aliens, and with the recent disclosure stuff going on, and then there's a Bigfoot alien, Bigfoot UFO or Bigfoot alien connection, whatever you want to call it, and now I've got the Bigfoot portal thing, and I'm like, I found myself ready to draw a line, like, okay, portals is where I draw my line, but then Scott Carpenter, puts out some magic there that he captured. And I'm sitting there like, well, thank you, Scott. Now I can't draw my line there. I'm going to have to find a new place to draw my line because you're showing me something here that's clearly happening in the video, and I don't know how to refute it. I love doing analyzation of pattern and like people's. There's a lot of the joke is the blob squatch.
Yeah.
The pictures that are sent out all the time, and there's something in there. And there's, I know it's right there, and and they got a circle around it, and there's a dark spot. Hey, guess what, folks? Send them to me, because I know how to analyze those. I run them through a red spectrum. If there's details in it, I'll show you. If it's just a tree, it's going to be just a tree. But I've found a couple things and a couple pictures already, on our own YouTube channel, and it's hard for me to refute this stuff now. I can't sit here and look good people in the eye and say, you are lying to me about this subject, because there's so many people that have seen this stuff and experienced it. We've got abductees that have passed lie detectors, and you still have people saying that they're lying.
Yep.
What's it going to take, folks? What's it going to take?
Yep.
I know. Well, that's like there was I know I didn't tell y'all about this one. There was a guy that I met. It's been I've been doing this almost 15 years, so it's been a good while back.
Hey guys, Tyler here. Due to the length of this episode, we're going to split it into parts. So stay tuned next week so we continue the conversation with Lee. Thanks.